Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is the live-action feature adaptation of the children's book series called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark that, was filled with multiple scary different stories. And I call it a children's book in quotations because if you've read the books, you know that they are traumatizing, horrifying, scary, yet for kids? I don't know. It's a very odd situation. The story takes kind of like a Goosebumps like kind of road as to how to tell a story, where it's a group of teenagers that find the book of this woman from haunted house ages ago who died, that wrote a bunch of scary stories. They take the book, they start reading it, but then the stories begin to write themselves, and then the teenagers, they appear in the stories, and then the demons or monsters or whatever from those stories come to life and come after them, and it turns into a race against the clock, to figure out how to stop this, figure out how to survive before they all die. And this was a surprisingly effective film. First thing I gotta say is the performances from absolutely everyone, especially the lead actress, were just phenomenal. Just the raw emotions that they all felt. I loved it. Every single one of the characters. I never really wanted them to die, besides the stereotypical dick bully that is every single horror movie somehow. But I did not care for him, so yeah. But besides that, everyone else, was really good and was fantastic in this film. And with some of the, more emotional, surprisingly emotional moments of the film, they were delivered fantastically, again, by the lead actress and the lead male of the film. They were both fantastic, and they easily made this film even better. Another really good thing, the effects and the scares. Whoo, this movie is creepy as hell, man. Very, very, very creepy. And which is exactly what it was supposed to do, and it did it quite well. This film is rated PG-13, and I'm really surprised by that fact, because there's just some stuff that this should not be in a PG-13 movie. This should be in an R-rated movie. But then again, it's from a children's book, so I guess it's okay. I don't know where the logic is here, but the effects were done very well. I'm not sure exactly how big of the budget this film was, but the mix of practical and special effects were used fantastically. Whenever they could do practical, they did practical. The Scarecrow was, as far as I'm aware, it was all practical, and it looked fantastic, and it was great. And then, the other stuff, it's clearly some of that was real. Sometimes it had to be CGI for certain elements, but it worked pretty well. There was only maybe a moment or two where it didn't look as great, but for whatever this film's budget was, it was done quite well, and the scares were done fantastically. Now, of course, there was jump scares, as always in horror films, because when is there never jump scares in horror films? What do you think this is? Some well thought out horror movie without jump scares? Ha! No horror film is like that anymore. But a lot of the scares are really built up well, just very creepy. There's one where it's this really disfigured pale woman in a hospital that's all red, and just it's how, I'm not really gonna give away a whole lot, but just slowly creeping down the hallway with no escape. That's all I'm really gonna say. It's done fantastically. It is so creepy, and I absolutely loved it. It was probably my favorite scare part of the film, and I loved it. Story-wise, I would say that it is a pretty simple and easy story to follow, but it does have a lot of underlying layers that I feel that sometimes it hit the mark and sometimes it didn't, just because not necessarily because it was done bad, just there wasn't enough to it. The lead actress, the story with her and her family, I feel could have been done a little bit more, just a little bit more done with it, and it would have been the biggest emotional backbone of the film. It would have done some really good stuff with it, as well as the male lead with what he goes through, and it's just it comes towards the end, but it's done well. But again, with hers, there's just not enough to it. It's not necessarily bad, but if there was more to both of them, would have been really, really strong, would have been really, really good. To call this similar to Goosebumps is kind of true, but also not kind of true, because in the Goosebumps movie, it was they opened the books and the monsters came out of the books and started terrorizing the city. Similar-ish to that, but here it's only one book, and it's more the sphere that encapsulates the book, begins writing the stories, then because she's writing the stories, the monsters start appearing. So it's slightly similar, but don't go into this thinking that it's just a Goosebumps ripoff, because it's not. This is a really weird time for this movie to come out, because it's August, the beginning of August, yet it's set at Halloween, and after seeing the movie, I'm this would have been perfect for around October and Halloween in that area. So I don't know why it didn't come out around that area, because it would have been perfect for that. I don't know, it's just a weird nitpicky gripe, but I don't know. Overall, I really enjoyed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. When I was a kid, I didn't dare touch those books in my elementary school library because I knew just from the covers alone that I would not be able to sleep at night. And surprisingly, there was a ton of elementary school age kids in the movie, and which was just surprising to me because A, it's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and B, parents, did you not watch the trailer or see the posters of this movie? Why would you take your small children to see this? I don't know. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Everything from the scares to the performances, just to pretty much everything about it, I really liked. Definitely the best horror film that I've seen in a long time. Midsummer and Annabelle Comes Home. But yeah, overall, this is definitely one of the better films that have come out this summer, and definitely one of the better adaptations to come out this summer. Really fun, very enjoyable. If you haven't seen it yet, which you probably haven't yet, then I would suggest go seeing it. If you're in middle school or whatnot, I'd say go see it because it's a fun PG-13 horror film that you'd be able to see. And yeah, it's just a very enjoyable film, especially if you enjoy the books. I'm going to give Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark an 8 out of 10. Found it to be very enjoyable, and if there is a sequel, I'll welcome it because I really enjoyed this film, and I think a sequel with telling some of the other stories and different characters I think could be really good and really effective. And yeah, all right, so if you enjoyed that review, make sure you hit like and subscribe and hit that bell icon, and make sure you share this with every single person you know so that way they know my existence, and I will see you all next time. All right, peace.